The Devil's Disco start. Let's hear it.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Won't you spare me over till another year?
We have exactly 12 hours until the Devil's Disco bouldering contest starts. The goal is to get a minimum of 12 boulders, maximum of 24. They are all worth a certain amount of points depending on how hard they are. You and your partner have from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. to climb at least 2 problems in each of the 4 areas of the canyon in order for your score to count. Jed and I are gonna do a lap around the canyon and try to find where all the boulders are so that we're not trying to do that in the dark.
Every time we try and go anywhere here, we get lost.
It's only our second time here, so we just don't know the area very well. Each bouldering team has an assigned starting zone. Our starting zone was the east side, so we scoped out our starting boulder, then checked out the 3 remaining areas, which were the North 40, the Idahos, and the other zone. Then we tried to get some sleep in, hopeful that all of our prep would be enough. So our friends Annette and James are bringing us pads, and we're like, I wonder if we'll be able to find them. They're literally camping across the canyon from us. I mean, like directly across. Our team name is Pretty Good Donut, and we tried to label our pads, but they just say nut. We're walking up to the trading post. Devil's Disco starts at 8 p.m.
We are 3, 2, 1, go.
Come on over, cut some shapes, get it right up in my space and shake it. Just shake it. Dance a little, move some more, push it back down to the floor and shake it. Just shake it.
We started in the east side in the flat iron area. The goal in this boulder was to climb 6 different problems, all under V1. But after completing the first V0, we realized that 3 of the problems were all a variation of the same high ball. High balls in the day are scary enough, but high balls at night in an area you are unfamiliar with are a whole other thing, and I didn't feel very comfy with it. So I learned from my last high ball experience in Red Rocks, I'm not doing a high ball tonight. Some people were trying a V2 on the right side of the boulder called Electric Sheep that looked manageable, so we hopped in on the Send train there.
Well, the devil got my number, and the devil got my size, and the devil got my head, and the devil got my eyes. I'm trying hard to get up, lest he make it to my heart, 'cause I wanna make it back from the dark, dark, dark.
We also decided to brave the brambles and throw our pads down to a nearby boulder with what was the easiest outdoor V2 ever, called the smallest dihedral. It is 9 p.m. I've done 3 boulders, Jed is at 4.
We are heading to Sandy Andy, which is basically what everybody else is doing as well. It's the only other zone boulder that's really easy to get to, and I feel like at some point they've got to outlaw this boulder in the comp, because it kind of like, it's almost against the whole point of the thing. Like, they want you to go to all the different areas, and this is like not that. This is like on the way, you just stop and do 2 quick problems.
Alright, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it's kind of hard to film and climb doing all this, and I've never really talked about this much on the channel, but like, sometimes it's really hard to film all this stuff. So I hope you appreciate it. I'm still having a lot of fun, but filming's gonna be shitty tonight. That's just the way it goes. It's not surprising why this boulder is called Sandy Andy, because it was quite sandy. The V0 Sandy Andy was a route that traversed left to right and was pretty fun. At this point, I was feeling pretty good, and we were close to being on schedule and in good spirits. But I shouldn't have relaxed so soon. As I watched Jed try to climb the V1 in the middle, he reached an awkward slopey undercling on the right, and I realized how high up he was. He downclimbed to reevaluate, and I gave the problem a try, but it was another high ball and the next move felt really reachy. It was apparent that our plans of knocking out the other section on this boulder were likely going to change, which was kind of scary because we hadn't really developed any sort of backup plan. So another high ball on the Sandy Andy boulder that I just don't feel comfy with. So now we have to kind of rearrange our plan because we have to get at least 2 climbs in the other area, and we're banking on this one being our second one. To be honest, I feel a little disappointed that I couldn't get that boulder, but these high ball V1s, like, it's scary and it's in the dark. So we're gonna go to Sleepy Joe's. Slopey Joe's. So we had to walk all the way up the entrance road, and now we're cutting back, and hopefully we're close to it. We saw this sign for the goat cave, and we're like, oh man, we're at the goat cave. We're trying to go to Slopey Joe's. And we're like, well, I guess let's go look up at the goat cave sign and see what's there's to see. And then we walked like 10 steps farther, and there was a sign for Slopey Joe's Boulders. So if you see the sign for the goat cave, you are next to Slopey Joe's. Tell me about the problem, Jed.
I don't know what it's called. It's a V0. And it's on Slopey Joe, which I'm impressed that we found as quickly as we did.
Right there is a mouse that's just very, very scared of us. You can't really see him very well, but he's there. It turns out that Sloping Joe had a pretty decent concentration of V0 to V1 problems, even if some of them were not exactly the most world-class problems on the planet. If you like low angle, lichen covered slab, that climb's for you. You're just climbing up into a tree. Yeah. Was that the funnest problem ever? Hello, Mr. Frog. Goodbye, Mr. Frog. I was glad that we didn't end up getting lost on the hike out, but we were going to have to book it back to the North 40 if we wanted any sort of shot at getting all 24 problems on our scorecards. Okay, I have 8 problems, Jed has 10 problems, we're headed to the North 40. It's 11:30, we have 2 more areas and at least 4 more problems to climb to hit the minimum. And then once we hit the minimum, we're just trying to reach the maximum, which is 24 boulder problems. It's kind of weird because the bouldering competition is at night, but not during the 24, so we're the only ones out here. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's actually less people in the Devil's Disco. If you're a boulderer and you want to come check hell out, and I'm not saying you're guaranteed, but like I think you're pretty much guaranteed to get into the disco at this point during the second year. I feel pretty confident about that. We felt really confident going into the North 40 that we'd be able to rack up points quickly here because the warm-up boulder had 6 problems that we could hypothetically climb. And we weren't the only ones. This was the first area where it felt like a competition was actually happening because of how many other people were there. We put down 3 problems in a row before I somehow ended up getting stumped by what was supposedly a V0 minus. I'd be lying if I said that it didn't get to my morale a little. It's really weird how in times of stress like this, your mood can go up and down so quickly. Jed could sense that I was getting down and really put a lot of effort into encouraging me and helping me with beta on the next problem to help me snag the send.
I believe this one is new. That looks like my speed right now. Yep, come on, you're good. Cruiser. Reach up to those lips. Oh yeah. You get a foot up into that pocket. Yeah. Okay. I don't have toes. Golden now. You're done, son.
The warm-up boulder has been both helpful and demoralizing because we knocked out a lot of stuff here. But there's also a couple of V0s, V1 I just could not get. Really just a one, I guess. But yeah, it just feels kind of bad when you can't climb one of the easiest things. That's okay, we're gonna keep going. It was now 1:30 in the morning, and we needed to go find one last boulder in the area before moving on. Jed was starting to get hangry, and so he ate some snacks while I proceeded to change the batteries on my headlamp for the second time in 10 minutes. I was worried that we'd hit a wall, but there wasn't much to do except keep going. I would describe spirits as mid, very mid right now. But we're gonna go over to the Idaho Boulders. There's supposed to be a really high concentration of boulders. We went over there and looked earlier, but we didn't scope it out too much. Jed's at 17 routes, I'm at 13 routes, and we're headed to the last area. Hey, buddy. They're so cute. As we trudged over to the Idaho Boulders, we stopped and really looked up at the night sky for the first time that evening. The stars were incredible, and I felt that feeling that you feel when you realize you're just a little piece of a big, big world. It was time to enter the green room. Being in the green room at night was a sweet feeling. It's just this little cave that's made entirely out of boulders, then right in the center is this point of rock that sticks out that's the start to probably one of the burliest V1s I've ever came across. Yeah. Yes. Good job, Jed.
My skin hurts.
Yay! You did it!
Yeah.
We've got an hour and a half left. I need 2 problems here. Jed just got 1, but it's a really strong problem. So we're headed to a boulder that hypothetically has quite a few. After looking at the guidebook, we realized that there was a nearby boulder in the Idahos, once again called Warm-Up Boulder, that had a handful of problems for us. We only had about an hour and a half left, so making our goal of 24 boulder problems all kind of depended on if we could send here. Come on, Jed. Come on. Yeah. Nice, Jed.
You got a really good foot, right?
Yeah.
That works. Yeah.
Yay! Good job.
The ground's crunching more than his knee is. That's always a good sign.
So it's 2:43, and I officially have hit the minimum on what you have to get, which is 2 climbs in every area. So I just got my last 2 in the Idaho Boulders, so I officially have a score that counts for something. Jed also has a score that counts for something. He's at 20 problems, and I'm at 16, and we're just gonna keep climbing, see if he can hit 24, and also if I can hit 24, but I think we might have to find another boulder for me. Alright, we're headed to the South Idahos. Jed has 1 problem left to get 24. I have 6. We have an hour. Let's see if we can do it. My camera died halfway through recording his last boulder problem, but nearby was a triangular boulder with 2 more problems running up both of the arêtes that would make for a total of 26 problems for Jed and 20 for me. It was 3:45 in the morning. The rules stated that all climbers needed to have their scorecards turned in by 4:15 a.m., and because we needed Wi-Fi back down near the trading post to submit our scores, we debated if I should try to get in 4 more problems before heading back to turn them in. There were 2 issues with getting 4 more problems for me. 1, we hadn't planned any more boulders, so we'd need a bit of time to figure out where 4 more would be, and it wasn't likely that they'd all be in one spot. And 2, it was still a 15-minute hike back down to the trading post, so that meant that even best case scenario, I would have like 5 minutes to climb 4 more problems. So we decided to call it a day and finished out the comp with 20 problems for me, 26 for Jed. Overall, this competition was really fun. I think that if you're a boulderer, you should definitely try to check it out. I'm not sure exactly what our plan is next year, but I do know that if it all goes well, we will be back down in Arkansas for Horseshoe Hell in some form or fashion, and I'd love to see you there. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, life is so good.
Life is good.